8 a.m. by the clock. That means it's time for the Breakfast Club. I'm Sonal Mehrotra Kapoor, and today on the program, an art form that has got everybody wondering ki hai kya? The Ghibli studio art. ChatGPT is now producing versions of it by the minute, so much so that Sam Altman actually asked people to hold on because people couldn't really go back home. But behind this very popular art form, this trendy art form, there are questions coming in of how it's actually been cheated of an artist. The artist who himself found AI quite disgusting in his own words. So which way is this going? Is this start of so many new? Why are artists all over the world now coming together to say that AI aping their art form is just not cool? We'll discuss that and a lot more on the program, including Rujuta Diwekar's latest book, The Common Sense Diet. All on that, let's get started. Ghibli AI Backlash, artists versus tech titans, human creativity versus AI. Who really wins here? Creativity or exploiter of artistic labor? AI generated art now ignites global discussion. Also coming up on the program today, meet the voice of wellness in the country, Rujuta Diwekar, the diet slayer making local the new global. Her latest book, The Common Sense Diet, has got everybody talking. She's already sold a lot of copies with one big idea, that you should eat like your roots. Also on the program, Himkund Foundation's chief in an exclusive chat talks about his struggle, about how his father stood by him. This is her tirath on building compassion without a roadmap. And then we finally hearing from them. After spending 9 months in space, Sunita Williams shares her journey, says, wanted to hug my dog and husband the first thing and we landed. The journey of grit and gratitude, her first comments post her recovery. The collision of technology and creativity just got a little bit more messier. OpenAI's ChatGPT has now rolled out a new image generation feature that's got the internet in a frenzy. I'm sure you've seen it by now. Users can transform their photos into visual reminiscent of Studio Ghibli's iconic animation style. Now, social media is bursting with these AI-crafted scenes, family portraits, surreal dreamscapes, iconic movie stills, reimagined through not the artist eye, but the algorithm eye. The feature became so popular and so fast that OpenAI servers started buckling down under the demand. Now, Hayao Miyazaki, the legendary co-founder of Studio Ghibli, had once called AI-generated art an insult to his life itself. He's now been vocal about his disdain for machine-made creations, especially that mimic the human artistry without truly understanding or feeling anything. Now, Miyazaki's words feel especially sharp now as his painstakingly crafted aesthetic is being mass-produced by AI in mere seconds. And it's not just him, right? Artists worldwide are now raising alarms about intellectual property violations, the potential erosion of genuine craftsmanship. Over 13,000 creators, including A-listers like Billie Eilish, Nicki Minaj, have all signed statements recommending the unauthorized use of their work to train AI models. Now, they see it as a threat to their livelihoods and the sanctity of their craft. They are not alone. Media channels have gotten together to say that AI cannot be mimicking their articles, their work. On the other hand, that's the other side. The internet remains sharply divided. Some users celebrate the creative possibilities unlocking due to AI, embracing it as a democratized tool that allows anyone to bring their imagination to life. But for many artists, AI feels more like an invader than a collaborator, especially when the tech borrows so heavily from pre-existing styles without credit or compensation. The ethical questions are just as murky, and AI is enhancing their creativity, or is it just cheapening it? There are so many things to talk about this. Celebrate the art, but what about the artist? Here's a quick glimpse first.
極めて不愉快ですよね。そんなに気持ち悪いものをやりたいなら勝手にやってればいいだけで、僕はこれを自分たちの仕事をつなげたいとは全然思いません。極めて何か生命に対する侮辱を感じます。
Never propagated it. It's an insult to my life. You hear the artist in his own voice. That's not DeepSeek, if anybody is wondering, right? So let's open up this debate now and try and get in voices to understand this a little bit better. We've got three voices joining us on the program. First up, we've got Raghava KK, a multidisciplinary artist who sees AI as an opportunity, not as a threat. So for him, it's about adaptation, reinvention, embracing tech to enhance creativity. But where does he see, especially when you've heard what the artist has to say himself? Then we've also got Harsh on the program. Harsh McQuan, he is an AI innovator who believes technology is meant to empower creators, not replace them. But without proper regulation, he feels and he wants that ethical lines are far too easy to cross. Also with me in the studio is Ashwini Kumar. He is a seasoned artist and an art educator as well, who says artists need to master AI tools and to stay relevant. And he believes that technology was never meant to destroy artists, but to make them even more powerful. So all three of them have very different opinions on different sides of the spectrum here. Let me give the first word there to try and understand from Raghava on why he feels AI as an opportunity and not as a threat. Raghav, it's you just heard the artist himself. He's saying, I'm disgusted. He's saying, this is an insult to my life. And then you see world over people actually talking about him. So I'm really torn on which way I should feel. But somewhere I would side with the artist. It's his body of work.
Absolutely. And he has every right to feel this way. And he's not alone. All of us feel disrupted. And when you are disrupted, you realize that there are three emotions we feel. We feel loss. A part of us dies when we're disrupted. And today we have a photography moment. You know, when the photograph was invented, it disrupted artists exactly the way AI is disrupting us today. Photography created a portrait of somebody in a second that took years and months for artists to work on. I'm sitting in the home of some of the best portraits in Florence right now. And what's funny is we're reliving this moment. We're being disrupted. And we're going to feel loss, liberation, and mystery all at once. A part of us is dying. Our labor, our love that we put into our art is dying. We're going to feel that pain. But we're also liberated. If we're not going to put that labor, what more can we do? What will it allow us to create if we are not tying art to labor? And finally, we have to embrace the fact that we don't know how art is and technology is changing us. It's disrupting who we fundamentally are. So I think it brings up a lot of interesting questions. This is an earth-changing, earth-shattering time for the art world, for the world in general, and how we respond is going to make us or break us.
And that's exactly what I want to get to. How should we respond to this? Let me, Ashwini ji, आपसे जानना चाहूँगी मैं कि एक तरफ अगर आर्टिस्ट ही कह रहा है वो ऐसा नहीं चाहता है, तो कैसे इसको यूज़ करा जा सकता है? और जैसे मैंने कहा, कोई उनको रिकग्निशन नहीं है, कोई उनको क्रेडिट नहीं है, कोई कॉम्पनसेशन नहीं है, तो ऐसे तो फिर कोई भी आर्ट एआई उठा के फिर यूज़ कर लेगा।
हाँ, देखिए, डेफिनेटली ये एक थ्रेट तो है ही। और जो लोग पहले से एक कन्वेंशनल मेथड के लिए तैयार हो चुके हैं, उनके कोर्सेज या उनकी पूरी लाइफ उस पर जा चुकी है, तो डेफिनेटली उनको तो बुरा लगेगा कि हाँ इतनी मेहनत करके हमने कोर्सेज किए, फिर हम लोग इतना एक्सपीरियंस करके उसको मास्टर करते हैं, स्किल डेवलप करते हैं एक, और जो है उसके बाद अगर कोई ऐसी चीज़ आ जाती है जो कि उनकी इतनी सारी मेहनत का आउटपुट एक सेकंड में दे सकती है, तो डेफिनेटली ये एक उस वक्त उन लोगों को बुरा लग सकता है। लेकिन
उन लोगों को लगेगा, आपको नहीं लगेगा?
नहीं, मेरे को बुरा इसलिए नहीं लगेगा क्योंकि मैं चीज़ों को अडॉप्ट करता हूँ। मैंने चीज़ों को अडॉप्ट करना सीखा है।
हाँ।
और मैं समझता हूँ कि मैं उनके एंगल से सोच पाता हूँ क्योंकि मैं आर्टिस्ट भी हूँ।
हाँ।
बट मैं तो इंटेंजिबल आर्ट पे काम करता हूँ, तो मेरा आर्ट जो है एआई कॉपी नहीं कर सकता। मैं तो इसलिए मेरे को हो सकता है कि हाँ
अभी
tension
नहीं
ना
कर
हो।
सकता।
हाँ, हो सकता है।
अभी नहीं
मेरा
कर सकता।
मेरा आर्ट वर्क कभी भी एआई कॉपी नहीं कर सकता। तो वो क्योंकि वो एक्शन है, वो कोई वो विजुअल्स नहीं है वो।
अभी नहीं कर सकता, लेकिन एक तरफ एक समय के लिए मान लेते हैं कि अगर वो कॉपी कर सकता,
हाँ,
तब आपका ओपिनियन नहीं बदल जाता?
डेफिनेटली बदलता। या अभी भी मैं उन्हीं के एंगल से सोच के बता पा रहा हूँ कि जो आर्टिस्ट इस वक्त सोच रहे होंगे उनके लिए एक थ्रेट है, और वो उनके मन में ऐसा विचार आना बिल्कुल लाजमी है। लेकिन आप ये समझिए कि आर्ट का विस्तार भी हो रहा है इससे। लोग आर्ट के साथ पास आ रहे हैं, लोग आर्ट को अप्रिशिएट कर रहे हैं, लोगों में आर्ट सेंस डेवलप हो रही है। और जब हमारे
That's a very good point. Art is getting propagated, is getting spoken about, but is it coming at the cost of the artist is my question.
Yeah.
Is that the reason why a lot of, artists in different genres are coming together now to say that hold on, there has to be intellectual IP and this cannot be abused this way. Let me bring in Harsh also in this conversation. Harsh, there is a very interesting take on this. While the world is going crazy, nobody really understands the depth of it. While we are discussing art form, musicians across the globe have now created albums without any musicians, empty spaces to just tell the world that, listen, this is what it will be if there are no artists. So are we worried? Are we looking at regulation? How do we approach this?
See, this is what I will call this. This is moment is like when calculator was invented, math teachers were on strikes or they were like protesting the calculator that their jobs will be gone. So this is the same thing at this time. And I always, like, as a technologist, I always believe that technology supports human being to sustain, to develop themselves and to grow. So when you take this Ghibli AI AI, you can take it as a supportive tool to develop a more creative animation and a quicker turnaround time. Suppose today an artist, like with a hand, it starts drawing, like you need like 16 to 24 frames per second, like, and it takes like a lot of time to create an animation. You can take Ghibli AI and make that movies like in a shorter term or turnaround time. So you will save a lot of money, time, and like you will have more time to do such more creative things, right? So I don't think this is like taking away the job or anything. This will like work as a support. Yes, definitely we need a support framework where you cannot steal someone's work or anything. And intellectual property rights are like biggest assets for any artist. So government should intervene and bring stronger regulations where you cannot steal or like violate the copyrights for artists.
So we're understandably in a grey area when it comes to legality on this. We really don't know, and these have to be formed. Like we said, tech is always one step ahead. We're always only responding to it. But Raghava, you're sitting in Florence. You're sitting in heart of Italy, where decades old of art, craft, architecture really stands tall. It's really interesting we're having this conversation on AI with you sitting there. What's the mood like? Are there the artists embracing it? Are they saying, oh, now there can be so many more David models that can be 3D produced and put up anywhere else in the world? Is that the conversation?
It's of David in Florence itself. You see millions of little Davids everywhere. I think art in the age of reproduction has already gone through this revolution. But what's interesting is it's almost impossible to get into the Uffizi gallery because it's sold out for the next 2 months, and people are going back to see handmade work. And so there is this romanticism for the handmade that will never die. And I want to point out that, you know, the big mistake we make is we think we are the ape, the Homo sapien, the ape that makes tools. What we don't realize is the tools we make actually change who we are. It fundamentally changes us. We didn't invent the pen also invented us. So the question is, we've created AI. Now, where do we want to go as a civilization, as a human, as a race? We have to imagine that. Artists need to come to reimagine that. AI, after all, only is the monkey that imitates us. It can't invent something new. It can connect pieces, and it can only give us back what we give it. So we have to think out of the box. We need to reinvent ourselves. We can use this as an opportunity to break all the things that are not working. Intellectual property does not work for most part. Most economic models don't serve the 99% of artists who create. It serves the 1% who benefit from it. So it's a good opportunity to disrupt and reinvent the model.
I like what you're saying. You're saying that this will perhaps, this mass production of art will probably bring in more attention towards handmade, will probably make that more wanted in a way, right? But I was talking to Ashwini ji right before the program started, and Ashwini has a very interesting story on ये जो पूरी जिबली आर्ट है ये शुरू कहाँ से हुई, वो थोड़ा एजुकेट करिए हमारे व्यूअर्स को.
देखिए, जिबली जो है एक स्टूडियो है, डेवलप हुआ 1985 में. दो लोगों ने मिलकर शुरू किया जापान में, और वो सोसाइटी के अच्छे मैसेज देने के लिए और एक सॉफ्ट लाइट इलस्ट्रेशंस के साथ अच्छी मूवीज़ देने के लिए बना. लेकिन इसका
अच्छे मैसेजेस भी
अच्छे मैसेजेस सोसाइटी को देने के लिए बना, और वो एक चाहते थे कि उस शब्द से इंस्पायर हुए थे कि जब सहारा रेगिस्तान के अंदर जब गर्म हवाएं चलती हैं तो वो जो पावर होती है उसकी, वो बहुत अपने रास्ते में आने वाले हर चीज़ को हटा देती हैं. तो वो उस शब्द से इंस्पायर हुए थे, और उन्होंने सोचा था कि अब हम नई स्टोरीज लेके आएंगे, नए प्रोसेस से नए रंग रूप में लेके आएंगे, तो वो रास्ते में आने वाली हर चीज़ को हटा देगा, एक नया माइंडसेट लोगों को देगा. अब मैं समझता हूँ कि जो भी टाइप की आर्ट यहाँ पर, चाहे इस नाम से हो या किसी और नाम से हो, उससे फ़र्क नहीं पड़ता. अभी जैसे कि राघव बोल रहे थे डेविड के बारे में कि हाँ फ्लोरेंस, तो आप सोचिए कि अगर माइकल एंजेलो जब जिंदा थे तो उन्होंने तो छेनी हथौड़े से वो क्रिएट किया था ना स्कल्पचर, डेविड या पिएता या और दूसरे स्कल्पचर्स जितने मास्टर्स उन्होंने बनाए. तो मास्टरपीस बनाते वक्त अगर बाद में उनको पता चलता है कि एक जो है मशीन आ गई, ग्राइंडर आ गया है, कटर आ गया है मशीन, तो सेम हालत तो उनकी भी होनी थी. रेम्ब्रा के टाइम पर ऑयल कलर, और लिनार्डो विंसी के टाइम पे जो ऑयल कलर थे वो जो हमारी पेट की आंतें होती हैं उनके अंदर भर के वो होता था. बाद में उन्हें पता चलता, और वो खुद बनाते थे नेचुरल कलर से. तो बाद में उनको पता चलता कि अरे कंपनी आ जाती हैं और फिर वो बनी बनाई ट्यूब मार्केट में मिल जाती, तो तब भी फिर उनको दुख ही होना था. वो तो यानी कुछ भी प्रोग्रेस होगी तो लोगों को उस कंटेम्पररी टाइम को.
इसमें एक फर्क है. अश्विनी जी आपने बहुत अच्छा बताया, एंड मैं बस ये कहना चाहती हूँ जिन लोगों ने भी ये जिबली की आर्ट के बारे में स्टोरी सुनी, द होल पर्पस, I think one key takeaway from this should be that at least go and know the artist, right? Before you go on to recreate all these pictures, go back and hear the story, go back and understand why it was done and how it was done, and then maybe the cause lives on. पर आपने ये जो बात बताई ना कि अगर उनको ये टूल मिल जाता तो आर्ट फॉर्म सबके लिए चेंज हो जाती. यहाँ एक फंडामेंटल सवाल है. फॉर एग्जाम्पल सभ्यसाची, you know, he makes these really gorgeous lehengas, but he thrives on the fact that they are sold, the replicas are sold, and it creates actually, remuneration for so many other people. It creates occupation for so many artists who are able to live by it. He thrives on it. But here is an artist, Raghava, who's saying he does not want it. And he had no say in people mass producing it. I think the question is of agency. The question is of owning that decision. The question is not versus tech.
I mean, that's a very good point you bring out. Unfortunately, I don't think we're in a place where we will have that much agency. The minute you put something out, it gets consumed by this monster called AI, which is learning. This is what Google did. Earlier, Google used to send you to a website to find out information. Now, Google just put in the homepage without even going to the website. And that's technically stealing from content in other websites. So this is happening. I agree that it's not good for the artist currently. I actually think the artist needs to reinvent himself. I think economic models that benefit artists have to change. I think the intellectual property rights has to change. We have to reimagine everything. It is forcing us to, it's disrupted us. So we can hold on to our emotions and our ideas and say artists have to get a share, but I personally think it's beyond that. It's too late to stop this monster from learning. And remember, this monster that we're feeding actually gives everybody access. So it's always a choice between benefiting a few or many. And the artist has never been the economic powerhouse, has been the disruptor, the contributor to society. And, you know, I go back to painting. At the end of the day, I spend sometimes 1 year, 1.5 years on a single painting. Technology has only made me grow and has fed my soul. It has not stopped me from being who I want to be. I can slow down. I can choose not to share on the internet. I can make my life what I want.
I think it is about agency then at the end of it. You know, we're having this very fascinating discussion and all three of you have very different perspectives actually. But I thought this is about AI, so we must ask AI what, you know, what AI feels about it, right? So right before the show started, I actually typed into ChatGPT and I asked ChatGPT that what do you have to say about the Ghibli art controversy? The artists hate you for mimicking them and not giving them enough credit. You guys want to hear what ChatGPT actually answered? It said, I get why this is upsetting. AI-generated art that mimics styles without permission raises ethical questions. Artists spend years honing their craft and seeing their work replicated without consent feels like a violation. This is ChatGPT talking, guys. Now, Miyazaki himself has been vocal about his disdain for the AI in art, and I respect that. If artists feel this technology disrespects their work, that's something that should be taken seriously. Ethical AI use should prioritize consent, respect, and fair compensation. If you are against AI-generated Ghibli-style art, I totally understand. It's an ongoing debate, and I think it's important to keep discussion on how to navigate creativity and technology in a way that's fair for human artists. Quick comments from everybody on what ChatGPT has to say, since we've incorporated ChatGPT in the conversation.
मेरे को इसमें एक छोटा सा पॉइंट लगता है कि अगर इसका नाम जिबली ना होता तो फिर ठीक था सब कुछ. सिर्फ नाम को ही लेके अगर इशू है तो नाम तो कोई और भी रखा जा सकता था. पॉइंट ये है कि
सेम है ना,
वो बात ठीक है. स्टाइल तो आपको पता ही है, आज प्रोडक्शन इंडिया में पूरे वर्ल्ड में कहाँ से आ रहा है और वो कहाँ का स्टाइल है वो सबको पता है. मतलब मैं कंट्री का नाम ना लूँ तो भी तो पता ही है ना सबको. वो तो स्टाइल, और हम लोग समाज से सीखते ही हैं. हम जो भी चीज़ें हैं, इमिटेशन तो होता है. इमिटेशन पे चाहे वो सोक्रेटिस हो, चाहे प्लेटो हो, चाहे एरिस्टोटल हो, इस पर बहुत बड़ी चर्चा रही है कि हाँ, इन्फ्लुएंस और इमिटेशन बहुत पास की चीज़ें हैं और हम इन्हीं चीज़ों से मिलकर बने. तो जहाँ प्लेटो बोलते हैं कि हाँ भाई कॉपी नहीं करना चाहिए, इमिटेशन नहीं करना चाहिए क्योंकि ओरिजिनल चीज़ से दूर चले जाते हैं, वहाँ एरिस्टोटल बोलते हैं कि हाँ करना चाहिए क्योंकि आप जो लैंग्वेज बोल रहे हैं वो भी तो इमिटेशन है, किसी का कॉपी ही है. और आपके जो संस्कार हैं, जो माता पिता ने दिए, वो भी तो इमिटेशन है. तो वो कॉपी कर और इन्फ्लुएंस तो चीज़ों से आएगा ही आएगा, उसको कोई नहीं रोक सकता. बल्कि मैं इसके एक अच्छे पार्ट को ये बताना चाहता हूँ कि आर्ट के बारे में, आर्ट का टेक्सचर कैसा होता है, आर्ट का फील कैसा होता है, आर्ट के लुक्स कैसी होती हैं, वो एक लेमैन तक पहुँच पाएगा. तो उससे क्या होगा, लोगों की आर्ट सेंस डेवलप होगी और यूरोप इसलिए ही साफ सुथरा है क्योंकि वहाँ का हर व्यक्ति, मैक्सिमम लोग आर्ट के प्रति बहुत सेंसिटिव हैं और इस वजह से वो अपनी कंट्री को भी बहुत ही सेंसिटिव तरीके से, अपने कल्चर को बहुत सेंसिटिव तरीके से संभाल के रखते हैं। और हर एक व्यक्ति को मैं कहता हूँ कि आर्ट के साथ कनेक्ट होना चाहिए, जैसे स्पोर्ट्स के साथ कनेक्ट होते हैं, तो वो इंसान की
तो अश्विनी जी कह रहे हैं इट्स मेकिंग इट अ टूल एंड मेकिंग इट एक्सेसिबल फॉर एवरीवन, डेमोक्रेटाइज कर दिया है आर्ट फॉर्म को और इससे भागना नहीं चाहिए। चैट जीपीटी कह रहा है कि चलिए इसके बारे में बात करते हैं, मैं समझ रहा हूँ आपकी दिक्कतें, हम इसके बारे में बात करते हैं। आई विल कम टू हर्ष वेरी क्विकली फॉर अ क्लोजिंग कमेंट एंड देन टू राघव। हर्ष।
Yes, so it will definitely develop like a sensitivity towards art, and like those people who don't know drawing, like me, right? Because I cannot draw a picture like what Ghibli is producing. So I have imagination, I have creativity, I can visualize things, but I cannot draw. So this is for those people like who are who want to get into this kind of stuff. And if you closely look at the pictures generated by Ghibli in like last couple of days, there are no expressions. My friend, like yesterday we were trying Ghibli and he shared his old photographs. I literally saw that there are no expressions. It's just neutral. So artists are the emotions for the art, and we need artists. And this will not absolute artist for sure. Ghibli or any AI tool will come in future because this is just growing and growing and growing. So any AI tool will help human to progress, not it will not stop them for anything.
So if Sam Altman is listening to us right now, which I'm sure our phones are listening, so I'm sure this will get to them in one way or the other. The takeaway from this is people have already OD'd on Ghibli and they're already taking out flaws and saying that there is no expression and the artist is the true form. Raghava, I'll give you the last word. Sitting there in the heart and the mecca of artists and craft in the world, looking forward, what is your hope and wish on how AI and artists work together? What is your hope and wish?
I think we are all cyborgs, and I think it's time we accept it. We cannot do without the tools we create, and they are changing us. So I really think we have to embrace this, and reinvent what value means, what meaning means, and how to compensate in the age of the cyborg. I think it requires a big shift in governance, policy, law, and art-making practice. We need to sit together on a table, look at what's happening, look at the tools we have, and reimagine what it means to be human. This is the opportunity.
Reimagine what it means to be human. Big words there, but we let these words sort of simmer in. Thank you all for joining us and being part of this very, very interesting conversation. We're going to wrap it over there, but going on, if you have thoughts on this one, please let us know. Our numbers and our feedback is flashing on the screen below. Let us know what you feel about the Ghibli art form and this artist versus AI. Quick break. When we are back, we've got another very fascinating conversation for you. This is on the Voice of Wellness. This is Rujuta Diwekar joining us live on her next book. Come right back for that.
ये है सिमरन।
Welcome back. You're watching The Breakfast Club. It's time for the person of interest. And today we meet Rujuta Diwekar, India's powerhouse of public health and a global nutrition sensation whose no-nonsense diet approach has transformed how we think about food. With over 17.5 lakh books sold, 30 crore video views, her influence is undeniable. Her latest release, I have it right here with me. It's called Stop Overthinking, Start Eating, The Common Sense Diet, is here in her latest book. It's her 10th book. She's doubling down on her mantra, which is eat local, eat seasonal and traditional. She's also shunning any fleeting diet fads. Rujuta's refreshingly simple wisdom actually champions sustainable well-being for both people and the planet. And her straightforward philosophy has shifted the focus from fleeting diet trends to sustainable well-being for both individuals and the planet. She's perhaps the first one to actually get that connection going as well. And we're so thrilled to have her with us on the program. Hi, Rujuta. Good morning.
Hi, good morning. I'm very glad to be on your show as well. How are you doing?
I'm doing very well. I'm very worried about what I'm going to have for breakfast right after this because your influence is just so much. But
oh my God.
But congratulations on your latest book. You've written books in the past for kids, for pregnant women, for celebs, for non-celebs, all of it. And they all have such a refreshing view. But one thought that remains across all your books and which I said in my intro also is almost your mantra, Rujuta, is कि घर का खाना बहुत important है. क्या आप बता सकती हैं थोड़े समय में हमारे व्यूअर्स के लिए जो अभी भी नहीं मानते हैं कि भाई घर का खाना इतना important क्यों है?
क्योंकि घर का खाना हमारी पहचान है. घर का खाना हमारी आइडेंटिटी है, हमारा यूनिकनेस और डाइवर्सिटी है. घर का खाना एक ऐसी चीज है जो हमारे इंडिविजुअलिटी को भी बाहर लेके आती है और हमारे डाइवर्सिटी और हमारे डाइवर्स डाइट्स को सेलिब्रेट करती है. भारत शायद एक अकेला ही ऐसा देश होगा जहां हजारों टाइप की दालें बनती है, हजारों भाषाओं में बातें होती है और कितने विविध प्रकार के हमारे खाने के तरीके भी है. So I think this is what has kept all of us together and we should continue eating in our diverse ways. लेकिन सोनल, घर के खाने में क्या है, मैं एक बहुत important चीज कहना चाहूंगी कि हमारे किचन्स जेंडर न्यूट्रल होना भी बहुत जरूरी है. तो जब हमारे बेटे, पिता, पति, पुत्र, ये सब लोग हमारे साथ घर में किचन में जुड़ जाएंगे तो इट विल बी मच इजियर कि हम घर का खाना खाएं ना के ऑर्डर इन करें. और फिर ये हमारे फार्मर्स के लिए भी अच्छा है और मतलब हमारे लिए भी अच्छा है, मतलब पृथ्वी और पेट दोनों के लिए अच्छा है घर का खाना.
घर का खाना बहुत अच्छा है. आप जो बोल रही हैं वो सुनने में बहुत अच्छा लगता है रुजुता, पर समय किसके पास है? Who has the time to cook a full-fledged home-cooked meal in an era where 10-minute delivery is happening? You want a soup, you want a salad, you want healthy, you want unhealthy, whatever you want is 10 minutes away. How do we make time to ensure that food is actually going in?
Okay, here's what I have to say about this, that first of all, the 10 minutes is never 10 minutes. Second of all, the 10 minutes is like risking many other, people out on the road. I actually think that they should kind of take things easy, especially for pedestrians and children and the elderly who are out on the road trying to just walk to school or walk back home. Having said that, समय कैसे बनाए? I think जहाँ पर प्रायोरिटीज करेक्ट होती है हमारी, वहां पर समय बन जाता है. सो इट डजंट टेक टू मच टू मेक अ मील एट होम. इनफैक्ट इंडिया में बहुत सारी वन डिश मील्स हैं जो कि 20 मिनट में बन जाती है. सो यू कैन सिंपली मेक अ खिचड़ी, you could make dal chawal, you can make dahi rice, you can make roti sabzi, you could make a roti roll. None of these would take longer than 20 minutes. They are not putting any pedestrian at risk. They are not creating any wastage or garbage. And they can also be turned into other delicious meals the next day. जैसे आपके पास में राइस अगर रह गया एक्स्ट्रा तो कल आप उसको 5 मिनट के अंदर बघारे लो राइस, फोड़नी सा भात या तड़के वाला राइस बना सकते हो. And then you have to just eat it with dahi. I think by constantly turning our backs to our kitchens, we are doing a great disservice to the collective wisdom of the women of India who have made meal preps which are as short as 5 minutes to as long as 5 hours. So isko humko celebrate karna chahiye. Cooking is a great way of eating delicious and nutritious food. Otherwise, Sonal, you will see that it's always like a paradox. जो delicious है वो nutritious नहीं है, जो nutritious है वो delicious नहीं है. खाली घर का खाना एक ऐसी चीज है which is both. It is delicious and it is nutritious. It satiates you, and then you're never raiding your fridge in the middle of the night to see abhi aur main kya khaun.
Yeah. And I also think ghar ka khana, you at least know what's going in your food, which is my biggest worry these days. You don't know what's going in the food outside. But Rujuta, you are the myth buster. You're the OG myth buster. You started by saying ye diet sab kharab hai. But in today's age, if I had to ask you about diets that really irritate you, diets that get on your nerves, it could be high protein, it could be IF, it could be this, there are so many, keto, etc. Which one is it? Which is the one you're after these days?
Oh, none. Here's the thing, that if there are no diets, then people like me are not in business. I've said this in my book also, that if people actually listened to their wives, if children actually listened to their mothers, I would have no work to do. Okay, I would run out of work, because eating correctly, staying in good shape is very, very commonsensical. 80% of what you eat should be घर का खाना. फिर 20% आपने इधर उधर चाट वाट खा लिया या ऑर्डर इन कर लिया तो चल जाता है. So it's not about, being an extremist, but it's about regulating your eating habits so that they're sustainable. The approach that you take towards eating correctly should last you not just for the next 2 days, but at least 3 to 5 years. That way it is something that you can live and die on, so we cannot be talking sustainability only when it comes to fashion or development or whatever else. We need to be first talking about it in terms of diets. But which is my most hated diet? None of them. I despise them all, but they keep me in business. And I always say this to my clients, that if your diet has a name, it is bound to fail. तो जैसे खाने का, घर के खाने का जो नाम है वो टाइमलेस नाम होता है. सो दाल चावल इज दाल चावल. आज भी उसको दाल चावल ही बोलते हैं. सदियों साल पहले भी उसे दाल चावल ही कहा जाता था. अलग अलग लैंग्वेजेस में उसका अलग नाम होता है. लेकिन डाइट का क्या है? एटकिंस आज कीटो बन जाएगा, लो कैल आज IF बन जाएगा, स्किपिंग डिनर आज, सो इट जस्ट कीप्स चेंजिंग नेम्स. वही डेप्रिवेशन है, नए नए लेबल के साथ में आता रहता है.
नई नई डाइट्स का नाम आता है और नई नई रिसर्च भी आती है. देयर वाज अ टाइम व्हेन घी वाज द डीमन. नाउ sugar is the demon. There are so many things that one has to go about it. But Rujuta, if anybody's read her books, and I have read them all, I think, and she talks about how दादी नानी की बात सुने. I think that is what will keep you wise. But Rujuta, एक जो लोग नहीं जानते हैं आपके बारे में, मैं जानना चाहती हूँ. Why isn't there a weighing scale in your office? How can you have a dietitian, a nutritionist जिसके ऑफिस में weighing scale ही नहीं है?
अरे क्योंकि we are not our वजन ना, so I really feel that we cannot be counting our health or our worth or our fatness or fitness on the weighing scale. आज Lancet के भी latest study में ये आ गया that they are kind of redefining definitions of obesity and being overweight, because each one of us is healthy at a different body weight, optimally healthy at a different body weight. And each one of us, even within our lifetime, is optimally healthy at a different body weight. 20 में आप जिस weight पे healthy थे, 40 में वो weight shift हो जाता है. I call it the happy weight. So what is a happy weight? Happy weight essentially is something जो आपको active रखता है, जहां आपको शुगर क्रेविंग नहीं होती है, where you are able to exercise 3 to 5 times a week, where you are able to sleep well in the night without getting up all the time to do susu, where you're not having any mood swings, where you're not getting sugar cravings, and where you're able to live your life fully, where you're able to manage your work, your family, your adventure, your fun time, and you're able to look good in the clothes that you want to wear. So we need a lot more than just being a certain weight to feel happy. And I think it's high time we all realize that. That's exactly why I can afford to work without a weighing scale, because we look at many other data points and not reduce our people to their body weight.
Yeah, you are not your weight, and as Rujuta says,
Yes.
it's the happy weight. You know, in your book, I was reading, I found this very interesting chapter. I want to read a quick excerpt of that.
Oh, nice.
You're talking about Chiki, who's the editor of this
Yes.
book as well,
Yeah.
and a dear
Yeah.
friend. And she says, post 3 babies, my editor, now in her late 40s, said to me that she only follows what I say. So she lost all her weight after the baby. So Rujuta told Chiki that, oh, you're looking great and you're looking fab. To which Chiki says, well, you know, I'm 60 kgs now, but all my life I've been 54. But now I don't stress about it. I call it my happy weight. The weight I keep while I exercise, eat all my food, have a drink here and there, also manage work and kids. So that's just happy weight, right? Something that you're okay with.
Yeah, something that you embrace, something that you realize is actually keeping you fully functional. And you know, I don't like this whole concept of all my life. What is all my life? All my life is in the past. What is happening currently is also life, right? And there is so much more of life to come in the future. So we shouldn't be losing weight at the cost of losing our strength, stamina, speed, mobility, and flexibility. Because now with all this talk on longevity, if we are going to lead really long lives, then we must remember that we come from a parampara or a culture where our dadi nanis have believed that I want to live only as long as I can be on my feet, which means that I have to be fit for as long as I will live without really bothering much about how much I weigh, but keeping my focus on how light I feel when I stand on my feet and how fully functional can I be with my body and brain. I think that should be our focus.
Yeah. Rujuta, I have to ask you also about this. We are in times where post-pandemic, I think there's an obsession with good health. It's both good and bad. I say good and bad because all of a sudden now there are so many social media influencers, so many people who are giving you advice on this diet or not. Some of them not going down very well as well. We've seen some deaths happen reported on some water diet that people were following, etc.
Yeah.
So in times like these, how does one decipher what is good, what is bad, what to believe, what not to believe?
You know, I always feel that when it comes to something like this, we must know that we are victims of the social media algorithms. Just so much is recommended for us and suggested to us, and we are spending so much time on the screen that we begin to believe somewhere that everything that we are reading is actually true and that we must try it for ourselves. So the first thing is that when it comes to your health, look at many data points. Don't reduce yourself to body weight. That way there's a good chance that you don't land up doing something which is silly, you know, ke 10 din mein 20 kilo ghata diya or any of those things. Educate yourself about the fact that sustainability is important for success, because it's not about how much weight you lose in the next 20 days. It is about how much weight you manage to keep off for the next 20 years, because zindagi lambi hoti hai. And you know, sustainable weight loss ka definition is 5 to 10% of body weight per year. So if you've started at 100 kilos today, by 2026 of 1st April, you should only be 5 to 10, matlab 90 to 95 bhi ho gaya, more than enough. Then there is the next year and the next year. So don't make your life about how good am I going to look at my cousin's wedding, or, you know, in this black dress that I'm wearing, because honestly, no one's looking at you. Everyone's looking at how bad they're looking, you know. So keep your focus on the stuff that matters and only eat foods. So, you know, again, when it comes to choosing diets, only eat foods that have a name in your local language. Either आपके mother tongue में उसका नाम होना चाहिए, या फिर आपके या जिस रीजन में आप रहते हो उस भाषा में इसका नाम होना चाहिए. So it's like quinoa khichdi belongs to no one. Sarjo, avo toast, you know, doesn't have a local name, doesn't have a regional name. Probiotic yogurts, you know, none of them have a local name. And local name is important because it keeps climate, culture, cuisine, crop cycle in mind and allows us to make choices which are good. Like I said, they bring out our individuality and they help us celebrate our diversity. Otherwise हम सब लोग एक तरीके से ही दिखेंगे, you know, like as if we've come out of some assembly line. And I think if we all look alike, then that would be a true loss for humanity.
Yeah. Rujuta, every chat with you is a masterclass. But before I let you go, I want some pearls of wisdom. I want people, अगर आप कह रही हैं weight ना देखें, तो क्या देखें? क्या monitor करें? What kind of parameters should people keep in mind? And these are busy people. These are not celebrities who have dedicated teams to ensure that they are fit and they are healthy and they look smashing. They are regular day-to-day people, काम कर रहे हैं, tax भर रहे हैं, पर healthy रहना चाहते हैं.
देखो celebrity हो non-celebrity हो physiology is the same for everyone, you know, so it's not that physiology is going to be less lenient to one person and harder on another. Having said that, it doesn't take much to stay healthy. It takes only about 3 hours a week of exercise, so not too much, between 20 to 30 minutes every single day, or 1 hour every other day. That is something that each one of us can aspire for and fulfill for ourselves. And if you cannot do anything, you know, you don't have the time to invest even half an hour, at least about 3 to 5 Surya Namaskars, which will cost you less than 5 minutes, is something that each one of us should do. So commit to exercise, that's one. Second thing, and don't do too much. So don't have this thing of 1 घंटा हर रोज या nothing, because फिर जिंदगी nothing में चली जाती है. So 3 hours per week, you know, that's one thing to start from. Second thing is that whatever your screen time is today, reduce it by at least half an hour, you know. So every 3 months, work at reducing it by half an hour. That's another good approach to take. Prioritize your sleep, you know, so don't wait. राते जवान करोगे तो दिन में बुढ़ापा आ जाता है. So, you know, you must work at sleeping early, and then assess yourself on exercise compliance. कि मैंने सिर्फ exercise plan किया या actually 3 days a week exercise मैंने की. Check on your waist and your hip measurement so that you know that you're knocking off weight from your waist. Climb a flight of stairs and see how, you know, whether you're able to complete a sentence while you're climbing it. And I have written a lot about this in detail in my chapter in this book. You know, it's called Tracking Progress. That how do you basically track progress? Because body weight is an imperfect clinical measure for assessing health. So we need to create many more data points to see how well we are doing with our health and fitness. But don't fall for the narrative that it takes a lot of time, a lot of discipline, and a lot of willpower to get healthy. If it's requiring a lot of time, lot of discipline, and lot of willpower, what you're doing is unsustainable. Staying healthy should become a default where you're able to do it effortlessly. It may take a little bit of practice. Like, see, when I started driving, the driver didn't need to wear a seat belt. तो हम लोग कोई भी नहीं लगाते थे. Then they came out with a regulation that wear a seat belt. First 1 week it was difficult, but now on default, even before I start my car, I wear my seat belt. So some practices are good for us. They come with practice. So work at making staying healthy the default. अगर आज तक getting fat was the default of your life, change your approach towards health, take a more sustained approach so that getting fit becomes the default of your life.
All right there, Rujuta Diwekar. There's so much to talk, but her book is out. You can see it on your screen as well. It's called Stop Overthinking, Start Eating the Common Sense Diet. And it's got a vendor with fruits on it. Well, I don't remember in urban cities. I know the last time I saw the site of it, but hoping more and more of this. Rujuta, congratulations on the new book and hope to hear from you soon.
Thank you. Thanks. Bye.
All right, let's move on from that and bring you some more news. Oof, lots of chatter on the program today, right? Let's move on now. Hemkund Foundation's Hartirat Singh opens up about the weight of struggle, the strength of his father's support, and the quiet fire that drives his mission. It's an exclusive chat. Take a look.
Fair share of controversies along with accolades. So how do you take that when people look at what the work that you're doing? So are you really doing good work, or are you just skimming off the top, you know?
I mean, I have faith in the judicial system. Whenever we've moved to the courts, they've always had a decision in our favor. So I know that time jaisa bhi chal raha ho, the judicial system is very unbiased, and पता है ना कि दिल में कि यार कुछ गलत नहीं किया, तो वी विल कम आउट विक्टोरियस।
हाँ, क्योंकि मध्य प्रदेश को लेकर भी यहाँ पर क्वेश्चन
एग्जैक्टली बिल्कुल है।
हाँ, कोविड को फंड्स को लेकर।
हाँ जी, FCRA, मैं तो खुद बोलता हूँ कि FCRA भी वो किया था, बट अगेन द FCRA controversy we came out victorious. We haven't raised a single penny from abroad. तो मेरे को जुडिशियल सिस्टम पे पूरा भरोसा है।
हाँ, तो फिर ये कौन है जो आप पे आरोप लगाते हैं, क्यों लगाते हैं? उनका कोई मोटिव आपको लगता है?
जरूर होएगा मोटिव, राइट? यू लुक एट सो मेनी NGOs being constantly shut. Why? I don't get it. Mother Teresa Trust बंद, खालसा एड इन इंडिया बंद, क्यों? So many Oxfam, so many licenses being cancelled. Why?
I think with some of them, the source of funds, with their actual motive, there have been questions, and perhaps that's why there have been some aji-baji then, if they've
could be, which is why we're still operational, and they're not there.
Yeah, if they're above board, then I don't think there should be any problem. So in your case, you're saying that you've gone to the courts and you're saying your books are clean, your intent is clean, so I've got nothing to hide. So for you, tell me what has been so far the most satisfying moment. So let's talk about the work that you do. So share with me 1 or 2 instances which make you feel यार जो कर रहा हूँ अच्छा कर रहा हूँ, सही कर रहा हूँ.
I mean, कोविड में आपको याद होगा DRDO की गाइडलाइन थी 80 से नीचे जिसका SpO2 लेवल है, we will not take them and we'll only take 80 से ऊपर वालों को.
Correct.
I was like कि यार what about people who have an SpO2 level below 80? I was like we will serve them. So a pregnant lady walks into our oxygen center. Her SpO2 level is at 40, which is the oxygen level. I'm like, यार DRDO तो नहीं लेगा इसको ना, हॉस्पिटल में बेड है. Like we'll have to do something. We made sure she's stable. अब हमारा काम क्या, ऑक्सीजन, हम ऑक्सीजन सेंटर है ना, we can't really take care of a pregnant lady's case. But I was like, by the book हर चीज़ नहीं करनी. What is our intent? सेवा. We made sure she's stable enough, drove her to the nearest hospital, and the next day I actually get a photo on my WhatsApp of the child's photo. एंड एक हफ्ते बाद वो मिठाई का डब्बा लेकर आए ऑक्सीजन सेंटर में, पीक कोविड, बट देयर ब्रिंगिंग इन अ मिठाई का डब्बा फॉर अस, सेइंग थैंक यू.
वाओ. सो
आई थिंक इंसिडेंट्स लाइक दीज टेल अस कि सही काम कर रहे हैं.
हाँ, पर कई बार ऐसा भी होता है ना, जिनकी आप मदद करने जा रहे हो उनका ही सब्र टूट जाता है, वही आप पर चढ़ जाते हैं. ये भी बहुत बारी होता है, राइट? कोविड में
अब मेरे हाथ में नहीं है. लाइक आई स्टिल रिमेंबर वी यूज्ड टू हैव अ बोर्ड व्हिच हैड अ टैली लाइव्स सेव्ड वर्सेस लाइव्स लॉस्ट. वो लाइव्स लॉस्ट भी हमारे ही ग्राउंड पे हुई है, राइट? वी कांट सर्व एवरीवन, वी हैव लिमिटेशन ऑफ रिसोर्सेज एज वेल, बट इंटेंट ये है कि जितनों की सेवा कर सको करो. वी माइट हैव टू ड्रॉ अ लाइन, राइट? कि हमें पता है कि ओके यू माइट नॉट इवन मेक इट. सो इट्स ऑल अबाउट यूजिंग द पब्लिक्स मनी रिसोर्सफुली और वाइजली. अब मेरे को पता है उसका SpO2 लेवल 10 पे है, तो मैं कुछ कर ही नहीं सकता.
अब जिनकी आप मदद कर सकते हो, आप कोशिश कर सकते हो.
Exactly.
रिजल्ट आपके कंट्रोल में नहीं है, तो दैट इज ऑल्सो ट्रू. बट जो 3 स्ट्रीम्स आपने कहा जहाँ पे आप फोकस करना चाहते हैं, how did you identify that, or how did Vinder Singh ji?
I don't know if you know about Maslow's theory. It tells you the needs.
Actual self-actualization.
Exactly. तो it's pretty simple. आपको रोटी, मकान और खाना मिलेगा ना, you will survive. It's similar here. Healthcare, you will stay alive, right? Education, you can actually teach someone how to fish, and उनका काम हो जाएगा. It's the same analogy here. And disasters में, emergency में, we know कि सबकी हालत खराब होती है. अगर हमने ये 3 areas पे tick mark कर लिया, we know that a human can do well in life. If you're healthy, you'll do well in life. If you have good education, you'll do well in life.
Correct. Disasters, do you believe of late we are seeing too many happen all around us?
I think it's
because the Prime Minister has also spoken about us, ki nature, and there needs to be a separate disaster fund that needs to be created, or corpus that needs to be created. Why do you think this is happening?
I think global warming, 110%, right? Why are there so many? अभी उत्तराखंड में I think avalanche आया था, right? Why is it happening? अभी तो गर्मियाँ शुरू भी नहीं हुई हैं. The snow hasn't even melted yet, right? दिल्ली का हाल देख लो. It's so hot right now. मैंने आज तक नहीं सुना था. Like we used to wear.
It's the hottest March.
Exactly. So I think it's global warming. We need to be mindful of everything. Our carbon footprint, how our lifestyle is. हम घड़ी चीज़ों के लिए फ्लाइट ले लेते हैं. एक चंडीगढ़ जाना है, फ्लाइट ले लो उसके लिए. But do we even see the carbon footprint? So I think we need to be more mindful about our lifestyle.
So are you mindful as Hemkund Foundation with so many institutions?
100%. Our schools are all green campuses. In fact, we have certifications for it. तो सारी हमारी एनर्जी जो सोलर से आती है. In fact, we give back. Because जो excess solar energy होती है, you can give it back, right? We in fact grow our own crop at the campuses. हम बाहर से नहीं लेते. तो and we have our own cows there. We actually use a technology called.
All right, with that, we're going to slip into a very quick break. Come right back for more coming up here on The Breakfast Club. investing. Welcome back. We've come back to the end of the program, and every day we leave you with some inspiring video. Today, let's leave you with some inspiring words, and this is of NASA astronaut Sunita Williams. She held her first press conference since returning from that 9-month mission aboard the International Space Station and reflecting on the highs and challenges of extended space travel as well. She said she's grateful for the global attention her mission has received, and also said that she knows that the world doesn't revolve around her, but witnessing the ongoing interest in her journey, she is finding it truly humbling. She also said that the most exciting part about getting back to Earth was actually reuniting with her loved ones, and she couldn't wait to hug her husband and cuddle her dogs and indulge in a grilled cheese sandwich, her comfort food of choice. Listening to her, we'll see you again tomorrow. Bye-bye.
It was over a decade since I've been up there last, and I was pretty excited about what was going on. There was a lot going on when we first got there. It was an honor to be working with Crew 8 and seeing all that they were doing and just trying to help them with their stuff, and then, being, prime, moving up to the prime spots for Crew 9 and Expedition 72 as we took on a lot of experiments ourselves as well as spacewalks. And what the space station is doing to help us in exploration is really encouraging, and it's exciting. And I'm a little envious of the future astronauts. The guys who are coming behind us, they're going to have so many wonderful opportunities to do the same as us, add to that exploration, add to trying to find the answers to the next questions. It's going to be an exciting future. So I'm not worried about aerospace industry. I think there's a lot going on, and it's a great time to be in it.